You're going to want to pay extremely close attention.
The rules are changing, and if you don't know this information, you are more likely to be on the losing side than the winning side.
I'm really excited about this. Dean Graziosi, Mike Filsain, Katrina Ruth, Ryan Dice, the one and only Russell Brunson, Sonia Riccati. We have Molly here, Todd Brown, Roland Fraser, Mike Dillard, Jeff Walker, Neil Patel, Dennis Hughes.
And I think that there's a high risk of mass extinction of internet businesses.
Millions of businesses, big and small, closed, pushing us into the worst global recession in history.
The writing is on the wall because things are changing, things are happening.
Change in the industry that's forcing people to evolve and adapt or basically die.
You need to see this to understand it.
Something like that will happen. You can write it in blood.
If there was a tactic or strategy that you were most excited about, what would it be?
We can go as deep as you want.
I call this content sprouting.
These strategies work for any social media platform.
If you believe it's a good idea, you should stick with that.
When your business becomes part of someone's identity, that's when they stick.
This is really crazy. I don't know if I ever shared this with you. Waste the least amount of money to find that winner. That's how you win for $1 a day.
Now, I have people that are on my list for 2 years that are still opening the emails.
To get this many amazing people in a room, just amazing.
We're about to take you behind the scenes.
I love what you're doing here. This is amazing.
If you want to know what's happening in the future, tune in now.
So welcome. Sorry about that. I am muted. I was muted, rather. There's actually some setting that is on my amp, and every once in a while it clicks off. But you should hear me now, and let me know if you are. And if you are hearing me, please say hi. Let me know where you're from. Welcome to a Thursday night live stream. And just been a great week, been an exciting week, and a very busy week. Been behind with Steal Our Winners interviews, so been busy with that. And if you're tuning in, then please say hi. Let me know where you're from. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and smash the like button. If you're watching on Facebook, emote, comment, and join our Facebook group, Strategic Profits. If you're watching on LinkedIn, then connect with me. If you're watching on Periscope, then tweet at me. But all is well here in South Florida, and I hope all is well with you. Today, we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart, which is really the entrepreneurial journey and really what it takes to succeed, and what I see as really the critical piece that is often overlooked, or not overlooked as much as just not even considered, or not even really ever focused on by most. And so we're going to talk about really from the internal perspective of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, and what I've seen over the years of working with so many successful entrepreneurs, as well as some unsuccessful ones, and what really made the difference. And so, oh, my daughter's there, so that's kind of cool. My daughter's saying hi from New York City. Let me know where you're watching from. Hey, baby, good to see you, sweetie. Take it easy on that Capital One card, okay? And let's see what else is new and exciting. Looking at my wall of where I made some notes. So let me tell you what I got kind of going on for me, and then we can kind of like dive in and we'll say hello to everyone. And by all means, if you have questions about what it really takes to be the best entrepreneur you can be, or questions about what I'm going to talk about, or in reaction to what I'm talking about, then by all means, please ask questions, because it's always better as a dialogue than it is a monologue. I am much more interesting to have a conversation with than to just listen to. And so my hope is that we have more of a conversation. And before we even dive into what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, or what each and every one of us can do to be our best as an entrepreneur, I wanted to first kind of like share this thought with you about something that I used to talk quite a bit about, but guess I haven't in any time recently. And for those of you who are curious, I'm back on Diet Coke for right now, but I plan on stopping again soon. So what I used to talk about was that the way, like, one distinction that I used to like to share with clients, especially ones or people that would ask me the question that to me was always an absurd question, which was, if I join your coaching program, how much money am I going to be making in X period of time? And that could be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, or whatever else, right? And my response would always be, I have no idea how much money you're going to be making. I don't even know if you will be making money or not. And they were generally quite surprised by that answer, because unfortunately in our market, or in the world of coaching or internet marketing or what have you, a lot of people will make a lot of promises. But the truth is that no one can promise any business what they're going to make in the future. That's kind of impossible. And if you understand business, then you understand why. And that's why even the biggest public companies with tremendous amounts of analysts following those companies, looking at everything they're doing, that they'd get the earnings wrong. And so what I like to share with people who kind of are coming from that perspective is that there's really two paths in life. One is the illusion of security. And that's where you walk down the path, and you walk down the path confidently because you believe that there is some security in life, that either you're joined this program and they promised you X, or you have this job and you think it's going to last forever, or whatever it is, right? There's this illusion of security that we all, to a certain amount, buy into, right? That things are much more unpredictable than we ever fully want to give credit to, right? So there's the illusion of security. That's one path that you can follow in life. And odds are there will be an awakening at some point. The other is to walk down confidently the path of uncertainty. That to recognize that the path forward is uncertain, but to do so confidently, and to do it confidently because you have confidence in your own abilities to handle whatever comes up. So in other words, that it's not that everything's going to be wonderful, and it's not that no matter what happens, you have total control, but that it is more that you know that no matter what happens, you will be able to handle it. And if you can walk down the path of uncertainty, confident in your own ability to handle whatever comes up, then that, at the end of the day, is what allows you to kind of embrace growing your business as if your life depended on it, knowing that your life does not depend on it. That at the end of the day, your life depends on nothing. And so therefore, and this will make sense, I promise, by the time we're through tonight, that you can play the game as if your life depended on it, knowing that your life does not depend on it. So I don't know if that makes sense today, but in what I'm saying, but it will, I promise, by the end of the evening. So let's see, what are we going to do first? Let's say hello to everyone. So if you're watching anywhere in the world, please say hello, because I always like to know where people are at. And let's see what we got going on here. We have 2 people on Periscope, 13 people on YouTube, 31 on my fan page, 5 in the Strategic Profits group, and I guess 0 on my personal page. Interesting. Francisco, what is up with you, buddy? And Facebook user tuning in from Tampa, hello. If you want me to know who you are, you got to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to give them permission to share your name. Hello, Stephen. Good to see you. And Artemis, wow, what's up, Rich? Compelling content for sure. I love it. Well, cool. No sound. Okay, we don't have to put all the no sounds up. Priya in Israel, I hope you are safe. Darcy, there you go. Thank you. You can hear me now. It's working now. Cool. Yes, good to go. Austin, Texas. Well, good to know, Artemis. And I hope you're doing well down there. And Lisa in Miami. Good to see you, Lisa. And Ubaidullah, tuning in from Dubai. Nice to see you again. Hopefully it's not an ungodly hour there. And John Sinclair, I believe, in Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly. And Stephen is in Scotland. Nice. And Peter Tsai, watching from Huntington Beach, California. And my daughter, watching in Manhattan. And Francisco in Portugal. And Hitesh from California. Glad that you can hear me. Thank you for sharing in your group, Troy. I think it's Troy, right? And Hugo, hello, Rich. I was on Steal Our Winners today for almost the whole day trying to learn the Vossler contrarian copy structure. And I really believe that it is the best source or place I've seen that helps you get really good at marketing. It really is amazing to watch you interacting with people that have mastered their thing and be able to see you asking questions with a clear purpose and how you try to use their insights to your own current challenges, share your knowledge and experience on the topic. And then I think we lost him. Let's see. Did Hugo finish the thought? Nope. Well, thank you, Hugo. And yeah, I think that it is, it's the screaming bargain of internet marketing, I think. And we've quadrupled the price for lifetime already, and we will be doubling it or tripling it again at some point. And if you're not a subscriber, the rates will be going up, just to let people know. Hopefully we'll make a bigger deal about raising the price this time so that we get a bunch of people sliding in before. But yeah. What's up? No guest today. No guest today, although I think I'm going to invite my friend, my new friend, Julian Reyes. I'm going to have him join us one of these live streams. And then also, I believe I'm supposed to be doing a live stream with the founder of Conversion AI. So I've got a few scheduled. I'm also going to be doing a lot of traveling, so that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. Maybe I'll have some people also fill in for me. I will be speaking with Dan Kennedy from his stage on June 8th and 9th, I think. And then I'll be at the Unicorn Mastermind, Unicorn and Tim Bird. It's called the Founders Mastermind. That is in St. Pete. And that is like, I think the 11th and 12th or 10th and 11th. And then I'm off for a month. And then in July, I am at the Traffic and Funnels Mastermind. And I think I have something else around that time too. But no guest today, Emma. I hope that's not a disappointment. That makes sense. Thanks, David. Yeah, with the glasses on and the haircut, it is a different look. So thanks you for that. And nice to see you in London, David. And Darcy in British Columbia, Canada. Good to see you. And Miles in Oregon. Good to see you. Tiana It made so much sense. What you just said is actually gold. Hello from Reno, Nevada, by the way. Well, thank you. And yeah, I got it. No worries. I am on the personal. Hello, Rich from Tennessee. Hello, Dale. And hello, Veronica in Boston. And bring it, Julian says. Julian, yes. Okay, cool. 2 is always better. And the rest of the message from Hugo, it's been very valuable for me, LOL. It sounds like a testimonial, but I just wanted to share this thought with you, and thank you. Yeah, you know, I appreciate that a lot, Hugo. And I really believe that, like, the job that I've crafted for myself with this product is really, like, in certain ways, my dream job. I mean, you know, I went from paying, you know, to learn from a lot of these people early on, and it's not these people, they're predecessors. And nowadays I get paid a decent amount of money to sit here and learn from them personally and share that experience with everyone. And so from that standpoint, it certainly beats staying up late, pulling all-nighters, writing free reports. That's for damn sure. And it really is a service, I think, that putting the best tactics in the hands of marketers is our main focus. And I think there's a lot of benefit to that, and there's a lot of need for that. I also, though, think what you said, Hugo, is spot on, that just understanding what marketers talk about and the dialogue that goes back and forth can give you an appreciation that is better than not behind the scenes, but more a greater perspective of what makes up marketing and what marketers think about and what they talk about. And, you know, because the conversations are pretty genuine, right? No one's putting on a front during these back and forths. If you could make a stream with Mark Ford this year, that would be amazing. I certainly can. I believe it would have to be probably on a Friday night, since we get together on Friday nights. So I could probably do that. Might be more of an unscheduled one. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would probably be the best place. And also letting Facebook know that if I go live, you want to be alerted, because I imagine that I won't be able to, it'll be more Mark's just saying, yeah, let's turn it on, let's do something, not a scheduled thing, because then he gets nervous. You know, a lot of people get nervous on camera. I used to, getting better as time goes on. New Jersey, New York. Well, which is it? Azael? How do I pronounce that? Can you phonetically write that? Azael. Is it New Jersey or New York? Which one is it? Hi, Rich. How does one scale his business globally? Thanks in advance. Well, what do you mean by scale globally? Like, you know, if what is your business and what does that encompass, right? Like, there's many ways to grow. Like, for example, like the way we do it at Strategic Profits, we have licensees. So if you go to strategicprofits.jp, you will see our Japanese affiliate. If you go to strategicprofits.it, you'll see our Italian affiliates, and so on and so forth. And we translate Steal Our Winners into those languages as well. So, yeah, we are looking currently for someone in Brazil. And if anyone knows anyone who has a direct response business in Brazil, there might even be a finder's fee that might be involved. So keep that in mind. But we are looking for licensees in Brazil. And also, I would love to find a Spanish-speaking country. So let me know. Okay. And let's see. Yes, Uziel. Oh, very cool. What nationality is that? And with that, let's, okay, kind of dive into the content, I think. When I live in New Jersey, but I connect with being a New Yorker more. Not sure if you know what I mean. Of course I do. I lived in New York most of my life. I moved down here after 9/11, but lived in Chelsea for about 10 years. How do you create killer headlines? Well, you study the masters, my friend. I know a top CPA marketer in Brazil. Well, if they're interested in getting in the info business, let me know. So one of the things I thought I could do is pull up some notes of mine from pull up some notes from a workshop that I taught 3 different times. The results were pretty spectacular, all 3 times actually, and it was all about entrepreneurial transformation. And so I want to spend some time on some of those notes. In addition to that, so very cool. Let me just do these last questions and then we'll dive in. So Azael, no, like questioning that kind. Please continue. Yeah. So I'm a yeshiva boy. I don't know if you know that, Azael, but I am, and heard Sheket Bavaka Shah too many times as a child. And that means, for those of you who don't speak Hebrew, that means please be quiet. How do you price a product? These are very general questions, Harish. You got to ask much more specific questions. And Ivaldo Albuquerque could help you for sure with someone on Brazil. I have to listen to some interviews with him and some great marketers in Brazil. Yeah, I should ask Ivaldo. Ivaldo's a close friend of mine. We also worked together for many years. So we're both Joe Rogan fans. We've gone to Joe Rogan concerts together, and we've also watched UFC together many times. And he was working on a webinar for Legacy while I was in Miami, or we would have gotten together. All right, so I want to see if I can share a couple of things with you. So there is, let's see here. So bear with me one second here as I figure out how to share my screen. Share screen. And see if I can share a window. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to do this here. And see. There we go. Is that, all right. All right, share. Cool. Oh, wow, that's freaky. That's certainly not what I want it to look like. So let's go back here. Let's get rid of the comment. And now let me figure out why this desktop looks horrible. I'm going to get everything else off the desktop so that we only have this. And then I can kind of go from there. All right. Now, let's remove this. Sorry, guys. Trying to manage both at the same time is a little bit challenging. But these notes, I promise you, are worth it. And I just am not doing as well as I would like to do today. All right, there we go. Let's see if this happens the way. There we go. All right, cool. So I got my notes up. And now I just got to clean it up. All right. Jeez. All right. So we are getting ready for in the next, I would say within the next month. So we're getting closer and closer. I will start personally coaching again. And so I've been talking to my team about it, and we're starting to put some of the pieces together. And for me, as I go now once again to create another coaching program for entrepreneurial success, which this will be the third kind of time that I'm now creating a program, right? Like this, right? I did it back in 2004 to 2006, and that's what, those are the stories of Ryan Dice and Mike Filsame and all of those people, right? Russell, etc. And then I did it again with GPS, which was about how to think about business, and it taught theory of constraints. And so now I'm really wanting to take all of that plus these entrepreneurial transformation workshops, which got insanely great results, and bring them all together. And so what that looks like is really focusing first on the entrepreneur themselves and their relationship to themselves. And that's what I want to talk about this evening, right? Like, how does one best relate to themselves to be the best entrepreneur they can be possible, right? From that, then the next level out is how the entrepreneur interacts with the world. How do you maximize the amount of leverage that you get in everything that you do? Because leverage is really the key to wealth. If you look at anyone at any time that has gotten wealthy, there is some form of leverage involved. So how do you operate in the world with the whatever environment you're in, right? So that you maximize the leverage that you get, right? Then from there, the next level is like the business that you're creating, the context that's going to bring out the best in you. And so that is the business. And then from there are the systems and the people, or the people and the systems. I'm not sure which order I yet want to cover that. So along those lines, what I want to talk to you today about are some of the issues that are part of that inner game, right? Part of the way one sits in their own skin, for lack of a better way of kind of describing it. In addition to that, I want to put a banner below me, and the banner below me is to a web form. And let's see, I'll put this one on. It should go right below. And let me know if you guys see that. Let's see, and I can put it here too. Cool. I'll put it in both places for a little while. Let me explain what it is. It's just a quick questionnaire. And the questionnaire, I'll just pull it up on a different computer here for a second. The questionnaire, the questions that it asks are pretty straightforward, but I would truly appreciate it. And I don't know if we have plans to send everyone who fills it out a gift, but I imagine that we will be very appreciative and we will repay the favor. So here's what the questions are that are being asked. I think it's asking your name and email, but then it's what's your niche? How big is your business? How much did your business make in 2020? And these are the important questions. And this is what would be very valuable to us and would be helpful in me, even in future live streams. But in addition, as I'm building out the course, because the answers to this will guide my thinking for the course, which will then, of course, guide my thinking as I show up on these live streams. So the questions are, what's the number one obstacle holding back your business? How would your business change if that obstacle were removed? What has stopped you from removing that obstacle? And then last but not least, which word best describes your current situation? Overwhelmed, unmotivated, unproductive, unfocused, uncertain, or none of the above. And, so those are some of the things that we want to know. What if you had to pick one of those, which would you say would best describe the current situation? Overwhelmed, unmotivated, unproductive, unfocused, uncertain. And that would be useful to us in helping you. Okay. So I also put some notes over here. So I've got my notes here and I've got my notes from the actual workshop. So let me pull up the notes from the workshop here, and might be doing some housekeeping in front of you while I do it, but I think it'll be useful nonetheless. None of the above. Cool. All right. So can you guys see that okay? Actually, I can make it a little bit bigger. So why don't I do that? There we go. Okay, so housekeeping, resell the benefits. If you do a program, you always, when you start, right, if there's any delay between purchase and delivery, which obviously if someone's buying a workshop and actually attending in person, it's always a good idea to resell people on why they bought, right? Like, obviously. And so because of that, you can see in my notes to myself to resell people on the benefits. But I would venture to say that for many of you, this should represent what the entrepreneurial journey is. And so you're embarking on a journey that is likely to fundamentally change you and what you're capable of. And I would say right here, right now, right, that if your entrepreneurial journey has not done that for you, if you have not actually fundamentally changed some aspect of yourself or some aspect of what you're capable of, then I question how hard or how purposeful or how committed you are to your entrepreneurial path, right? So to live life fully, grow your business exponentially, and perform at your full potential consistently, right? That was the goal of this transformation program, to live life fully as, you know, a human being, to grow your business exponentially as an entrepreneur, and to perform at your full potential consistently. So what do I mean by live life fully? What I mean is to wake up each day enthusiastically, right? Now, there have been times in my life when I've woken up the opposite of that. And then there have been most of the times of my entrepreneurial life where I have woken up excited about the day based on the life and business and day-to-day experience that I engineered for myself. So to wake up each day enthusiastically, ready to take on the world, grow yourself and your business, and be chomping at the bit to get into action. To feel fully charged, fully alive, and fulfilled, knowing you're living your life is in complete alignment with your purpose, like what you were put on this planet to do. And I'm going to give you some guidance on that too today, if you've been at a loss to really figure out what is that bigger purpose. To grow your business exponentially. Well, what does that mean? It should be kind of obvious. By noticing exponentially, obviously, is to put it into hyper growth mode. Now, how do you do that? Well, the first thing is, and this is one of the things that I believe that really falls into my sweet spot and is something that I don't think most people have thought about, let alone spent years studying, is helping entrepreneurs notice all the opportunities that they're currently blind to. And that is pretty consistent, that in almost every business that I've ever gone into, there have been opportunities for growth that the owner did not see, that the entrepreneur did not see, partly because they are inside their business, so it's hard to kind of get that perspective. I would be guilty of that in my own business. And so helping an entrepreneur really kind of step outside their business and be able to see what is currently missing and then be able to notice for those opportunities outside in the world is really a critical entrepreneurial skill. And so the first way to improve your own ability at being able to spot opportunities for growth is to, one, know what it is you're looking for. So what currently is missing from your business, right? Like if you think about your business as a finished piece or as the fulfillment of whatever you dreamed about when you started, what does that business need to look like? And then why doesn't it look like that now? What's missing, right? And then from there, once you know what's missing, it's about understanding what do you need to notice for opportunities that will lead you to what's missing, right? That it's not just knowing what you're looking for, it's knowing what to notice for that would lead you to what you're looking for. And, you know, I've mentioned this God knows how many times, but I'm a big fan of the TV show Forensic Files. And when you watch Forensic Files, the police don't show up at the murder scene saying who did it. They are busy looking for clues like a blood stain, a fingerprint, a piece of hair that has DNA in it. They know what to notice for that will lead them to what they're ultimately looking for. So what about you? Do you know what to notice for? You know, it's shocking to me how many entrepreneurs that I will talk to that will tell me that they need a certain employee. And when I ask them, like, what have they done to find this employee? Have they been on the lookout for that person? Have they, you know, do they know what even to be looking for? A lot of times they look at me like I'm crazy, right? So knowing what to notice for is incredibly important. Let's see here. Hold on. I got a friend that just texted me. Cool. Tim Ferriss was tweeted. Okay, asking who's seen it. Okay, let's see here. So hopefully that makes sense. And the next thing, like, how do you grow your business exponentially? By enrolling everyone around you to assist you in whatever ways that you possibly can. So this is another kind of big deal, right? When I question an entrepreneur's commitment to the stated goal if they've never shared that commitment with others and asked others to assist in any which way that they possibly can. In fact, I wanted to do a program kind of as an experiment, as kind of a beta test, right? I wanted to do this one program where I just had I wanted to do a 30-day program. This was not going to be like a coaching program or anything like that, but it was going to be a 30-day program where ultimately I wanted people to do 3 things each day, right? And what I wanted them to do was, 1, share the vision for their business that they're committed to with a person, right? Share it at least once a day. Take one action to make that happen once a day, and to ask someone to do something to help get to that vision, right, once a day. And all 3 of them to make them bigger each day over time. So whereas like the first day 1, you might share the commitment, right, to your vision with your mom, right? As you go on, you'd share it with friends. As you go on, you'd share it with prospects, and maybe ultimately share it online with the world. And when it came to taking an action, same thing. The actions would be bigger over the 30 days. And the request of who you made it from and what you were asking for would get bigger over time as well. And I believe that if I did a program like that, that it would get great results without having to teach anything. And why I believe that is pretty straightforward. 1, I believe that if you just shared your vision and what you were committed to achieving each day for 30 days, what would happen is that you would get better at expressing your commitment to this purpose, to this greater good, this vision that you're trying to create in the world. And by getting better at it, you would be able to enroll more people into it, right? And you would believe in it more as you constantly revisited it and kind of tweaked the way you described it. Next, asking other people to assist you in that, you would notice that quite a few people say yes. And you'd actually be surprised at how many people will assist when asked. And I'll share a quick story about that in a second. And obviously, if you were to take an action every day for 30 days and those actions got bigger and bigger, there would be progress made. So I believe that if an entrepreneur just did those 3 things daily and made the actual effort to have them increase in scope across the board every day, that tremendous results would be achieved. So what I did in this workshop that we're looking at notes from, right? What I did was, and I'm loosely, you know, like my memory is not 100% on this, but close enough. What I did was I had everyone in the room first figure out what's missing, right? Then really think through all the people that they knew, all the people they knew, and all the people that could potentially, they could ask to assist or to provide what's missing or to give guidance or what have you, right? So this would be a long list. It's basically like a list of everyone you know. And then we took a break for dinner. And there was a catch, though, to dinner, and I participated too. The catch was we gave everyone 2 hours for dinner, but you weren't allowed to buy yourself dinner. You weren't allowed to buy anyone in the room dinner. You weren't allowed to tell people why you weren't allowed to buy dinner. And you had to get someone to give you dinner or buy you dinner. And so we broke up into groups, and I went with a group. And so we walked into a restaurant, and I walked over to the maitre d', and the maitre d' said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I hope so." And he looked at me a little strange, and I said, "My 3 friends and I are really hungry, but we can't pay for dinner. Can you help me?" And he looked at me for a second, a little strange, right? Like I wasn't dressed poorly. So he probably was a little bit surprised by that. But he said yes. And he went to the back, told me, wait a few minutes. And he came back with 2 big styrofoam containers, one with wings in it and one with French fries in it. And we proceeded to 3 other restaurants so that everyone got a chance to do it. And everyone got something. And then we all sat down and we ate dinner. And everyone was surprised at how easy it was, how people were so willing to help. And yet, more times than not, we restrict ourselves from asking from others to help us on a journey or assistance in anything. And, when I was putting together Steal Our Winners, it required me asking a lot of people to be willing to share their secrets, to share what's working. Obviously, if I had a problem asking people for things, Steal Our Winners would never be created. So, we came back from dinner and I said, now that you can see that strangers on the street will help you with no incentive, with nothing, right? They're not getting anything in return. The only thing that any stranger who gave someone food in this group, the only thing they got was the satisfaction of giving. Now that you know how easy it is to ask and receive, now look at that list and figure out who you're contacting on Monday, who you're contacting on Tuesday, who you're contacting on Wednesday, and then, commit to a person, so to left or right, that you are going to follow up with each other to make sure that you've reached out and asked those people for those things. Because it's my belief that whatever is missing in your business is not missing in the world. And so one of the fastest ways to get it from the world into your business is to ask someone who has access, right? And so, that's not the secret to entrepreneurship, but it certainly makes you better, right? And the way that you can enroll people in what you're trying to achieve in your business is by getting better at sharing that commitment and getting better at taking action for yourself so people know that you're serious, and then also asking. Right. So let's go back to the notes. Hopefully this works. Let's see. There we go. Cool. And so next, by seeing the world through the lens of the most successful entrepreneurs in history, what to notice for, right? What we talked about earlier. And by tapping into the real drivers of purchasing in your market, which we are not going to go into today, but perform at your full potential consistently by no longer being constrained by self-defeating habits. Right. And so I have this thought that I've been kind of thinking about recently. So it's evolved even from here. And I want you guys to consider this, and I'd like to get your feedback on this. Tell me what you think. Okay. What I'd like to know is your thoughts about this thing I'm going to share here. So I believe that we are self-defeating habits, or anything that is self-destructive, or anything that we're doing that we know interferes with our long-term success or our long-term happiness or the performance of our business or what have you, okay? Any of those types of things. I question whether I think it can be broken up into two pieces. Any self-defeating, self-destructive, self-handicapping behavior. I think it can be bifurcated into these two pieces. There is the urge, or there is the pure or positive or clean intent of like what this behavior actually is, right? The drive for it. And then on the other side is how that drive is expressed, the behavior. Okay. So like, I think that, just trying to think, the procrastination, right? Procrastination is like a descriptive, but it's not really, you don't do procrastination, right? You do something else, you do avoidance, you're doing something else, right? So we could say that the desire or the urge that causes one to procrastinate, and I'm just kind of making this up on the top of my head right now, but let's say the urge really is to alleviate frustration, right? Like a low frustration tolerance, or the desire to have fun, or the it could be a million things, right? So let's just say that, like that there is a desire to have some fun, right? And that's interfering with the need to get some work done. So the question is that desire to have fun, can it be like recognized for what it is and be expressed in ways that would actually be more conducive to the success of business, right? So, it's kind of like what I was saying earlier, right? About how what I've constructed for myself with Steal Our Winners is something that allows me on a daily basis, pretty much, to be talking to the world's best marketers and getting personal instruction from them about what's currently working, right? And that is something that in the past, there was an urge to call friends, to, talk marketing with friends, to do these kinds of things. But I've constructed my business now in a way where the urges that I have actually further the business as opposed to take me away from the business. And I really believe that really there is no kind of behavior that can't be split apart between the positive intent and the wrong expression of that positive intent, and a redefinition or a change in that way, the alignment of the behavior to the action that could actually be a positive force, right? So let's say that someone is a narcissist, or they are a they are I'm just trying to think of negative things, right? So let's say they are a flagrant cheater as far as with their spouse, right? So what is that besides a distraction, right? It's also like a desire to maybe feel loved, to feel appreciated, to connect with other human beings, what have you. Well, couldn't that be fulfilled in other ways? If there's a desire to feel loved or to be appreciated, couldn't that person actually start to maybe cultivate a YouTube channel or try to grow a following or what have you? So my point is that I just believe that negative kind of behaviors, the reason why people struggle with them is that they're trying to kind of dissipate the urge and dissipate the behavior at the same time. when in fact, the urge is the urge, right? And if the behavior can change of how that urge is expressed, then you're actually tapping into like who you really are. And the more that happens, the less there is this need to be different than who you are. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. I'm really curious if it does. I want to check in with you guys just to see where you're at. And then also, if you're wondering why these things are below me, it's a link to a quick questionnaire, just like 5 questions. And those questions will help me in 2 things: designing the coaching program that we're currently working on, in addition to kind of helping me help you guys over the next coming weeks with this live stream and what I cover. So let's kind of like check in with you guys, see where we're at. Facebook user says, yay. I don't know why, but thank you. I love the conversation about inner game for entrepreneurs. Cool. I see it as reducing noise and friction. Totally agree. In the digital stream and amplifying focus on what my mentor tells me, who has a structure to follow. Success leaves clues, and my mentor can help me with those clues. Like you, Rich. I love this conversation on the inner game. Cool. Appreciate that. Let's keep going. Asma says, hello, Rich and everyone in Egypt. None of the above. I totally get you, Priya. Great to catch you live, Rich. Well, great to be caught live, April. Hi from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. Well, thank you, Warna. And my ex-wife is heading back to Sudbury soon, I think next week. Ray MacArthur, wow. This is amazing, Rich. Thank you. Hello, I did a very similar thing. It's amazing how one just needs to ask. Yeah. And we're afraid to most of the time. I'm late. Can someone catch me up on what notes article is this from? It's from my notes it's my notes to facilitate the entrepreneurial transformation workshops that I did in the past. And since we're talking about the inner scope of what it means to be a successful entrepreneur and what I believe, I'm using some of my notes from there. Always asking is the way to learn, and try new things bring you close to what you want to achieve. Yeah, you were so right on spot. Hey, Rich. Hello, Rajesh. If you love what you are doing, this will motivate you. Of course it will. Loving what you do is the best productivity secret in the world. It makes absolute sense. You are using the urge for a positive thing. Yeah, exactly. As opposed to trying to change yourself, try and shift a little bit, right? Rich, your concept of interweaving character and business is very clever. Well, thank you. One of the reasons why I believe I get the results I do. Hey, Rich, I have a particular found starting and launching sales coaching and mentoring very challenging. However, I have finally launched a beta version. Good. I really love this to be aware about. I love this to be aware about this and direct our needs to which creates mode. Okay, cool, Kia. So anyway, so that's part of the process, right? Recognizing that there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing broken with you. You work exactly how you need to work. However, that the way that you wound up being, the way that some of those urges, inclinations, desires, personality characteristics are currently being expressed might not serve you best now. And so the question is like, how do you go about altering those? Which that'll be for another live stream, but there are generally reasons that are unknown to us of why we do things that we can ferret out. And there is a process that I'm going to share with you guys. Either I would imagine the next week or two, that helps you uncover those, like why you do some of the things that you do instead of what you believe you should do. I'll leave it at that for now. All right, and now let's go back into this. Okay. And now let's get rid of that banner, the bigger one. I don't know that we need to be so obnoxious about it, but if you can fill that out, I'd really appreciate it. It'll let Matt know that me doing these live streams is worthwhile for us as a company. Okay. Let's see. Want to see what I want to cover here. I've shared this numerous times, the be do have, the do have be crisis. But just a quick recap on that, because I think it's useful, especially for those who might not have been exposed to it before. The idea there is that what really led me to a midlife crisis was that I had achieved the goals that I had set for myself to achieve by 40, and I achieved them before 40. And so when I got to 40, and that was over a decade ago, but when I got to 40, I wasn't happy, and I had already got what I wanted. So now the problem was, well, okay, I thought I'd be happy if I got these things. There's therefore no reason to believe that getting more things is going to make me any more happy, since this isn't making me happy. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, this is a problem. I have spent the 38 years of my life pursuing certain things, thinking that if I achieved those certain things, that I would be happy. And now I've achieved those things and I'm not happy. And so now what? Like, what do I do? And that created quite a conflict for me, and set me on a path of studying a lot of philosophy, existentialism, ontology, linguistics, psychology, sociology, neuroscience, and a bunch of other things, right? So, but I also spent a lot of time getting coached, going to different workshops and all kinds of stuff. And I was exposed to this one way of thinking, or this one model called be, do, have, right? And when I thought about it, I kind of thought about how you could use that model to kind of describe the different paths that people take in our market. So there is, right, the have, do, be model, which is really the opportunity seekers kind of motto, and the dreamers motto, and the losers motto, unfortunately, right? That is the have, do, be models. And what the ethos of that is if I had certain things, right? Have, like, if I had these secrets, if I had funding, if I had whatever reason people use for not taking action, like some resource, if I had that, then I would do this, and then I would be that, right? So if I had $1 million, if I had funding, if I had so-and-so as a copywriter, if I had the secrets to getting high organic ranking, if I had whatever it is, right, then I would do this, then I would be this. And that's a path for losers, because at the end of the day, it is those that are resourceful that create things, not the people that wait for resources. And that's just my perspective about it. So I believe that the have, do, be model is a loser's model. Now, the next model, which is certainly, in my opinion, superior to the loser's model, would be do, have, be. And that's the model that I followed, right? That I will do certain things, like build a business, right? Do coaching, do all these things, right? And because I will do those things, I will make money. I will, right, have a successful business. That successful business will allow me to buy a house, to buy cars, to have toys, to, enjoy my life. I will I will do certain things to get certain things, so I'll have them. And then because I have them, I will be a certain way. I'll be happy. I'll be fulfilled. I will be whatever, right? Once again, though, doesn't really work that way. You do certain things, you get certain things, but you don't be certain things for any continual period of time, right? Nothing about what you have makes you into who you want to be. And so really the only way for fulfillment long-term is to be who you need to be, do what you need, whatever you as that person would do, and get whatever you get, right? But the being comes first. And if you can be that first, then you're not hanging out like for some future hopeful being later on. And so what I realized was about myself, and I'm not suggesting, so I think that model is pervasive, but what I'm about to say next really is about me per se, not necessarily about you or any other entrepreneurs, but for me, when I looked at my life and when I really thought about like, when am I most happy? When am I like caught up in life? That for me was when I was in pursuit, and it didn't matter what I was in pursuit of, as long as I'm pursuing something. So in order for me to be everything I need to be, all I need to be is in pursuit. Because when I'm in pursuit, I'm engaged in life. And when I'm engaged in life, I feel fulfilled. When I'm pursuing something, I have a purpose. And that thing can be different from hour to hour, to day, whatever, right? But I need something to pursue. And as long as I'm in pursuit, I am happy. Because I'm fulfilled and I'm engaged in life. And that's when I feel most alive. And so that is what I need to be. And by being that, I will do whatever needs to be done and I will get what I want to get. But it starts with being, and I know, I'm not a spiritual kind of teacher or anything of that kind of nature. So I hope I'm doing this justice, right? But I think as I add more layers to this, it might get a little bit clearer. So let's take it deeper. All right. So there's a couple things I wanted to focus on, and I hope I can find it here. Okay. All right. Before I go more into my notes, there is an area that I know is somewhere in my notes, but not sure where it is. All right. So another thing that I find can give an entrepreneur a tremendous amount of energy, force, power, is to tap into what it is that they have felt deprived of in their past, and tap into that as their business provides that for others. And I'm not saying that this is always the case or that it can always be done, but I think it can be done a lot more than people realize. And so some people know that, my upbringing was a little bit crazy at times, and I really felt, without making this like a therapy session, right, that I really felt like I wasn't heard, that besides being locked in a room for a period of time and being completely isolated, which I was, I also just really was kind of overlooked, for lack of a better way of describing it, and didn't really have a voice, right? Like it didn't matter. I didn't matter, right? And so because of that, right, I believe that one of the reasons why I am so drawn to the entrepreneurial process, why I have had countless opportunities to kind of go in other directions in my life and seize potentially bigger opportunities, I've chosen not to, primarily because, like, I believe that what I do in helping entrepreneurs build their businesses is giving entrepreneurs the ability to have a voice, to live life on their own terms, and to be whoever they want to be inside their business. And I felt like I didn't have that as a child. And so I have it now. And I want to give it to others because I know what it's like not to have it, especially since I didn't have it and now I do. And because I am tapping into something that I can't convey to you the amount of like inner force or power that causes, right? Like for everyone, it's going to be different. But think about something that you feel like you got ripped off on in life, like when you were younger, that maybe you've made up for now as you're older. And that, like, think about the feeling of not being like, of that being kept from you, whatever it is, right? Or that being done to you or what have you, right? And being a force for that not happening to others or being given to others, or something that taps into who you wound up being based on what has occurred, and tapping into that as being like a reason for being, as a cause bigger than yourself that you can tap into, that calls from you a better performance, right? So something I learned from Werner Erhard, not personally, although I wish, met him once, but haven't had the benefit of learning from him personally as much as I would like to. You know, he said, and I agree, right? We look at people who are great and we discount ourselves that we are not that. That, you know, we look at great people and think that's how they were born. But that is not how anyone is born. That is how they wound up being. And how you are, or how I am, how we all are, is how each and every one of us wound up being. What allows someone to transcend how they wound up being to being great, however you define it, is a cause that is bigger than oneself, that that forces someone to rise above their own petty concerns, their own issues, and recognize that there is a bigger purpose to who they are, to what they want to be, to what they want to create in the world, and the impact that they want to have. And if you can find that in yourself, you will tap into a power that is foreign to people who've never done that. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm much more of a coach that really works with the entrepreneur to build their business around themselves and then improve the marketing and scale that business, right? But what I'm sharing with you now is what, like, I've been fascinated by this in my own life and in the lives of thousands of entrepreneurs that I've coached. I mean, I've literally been doing this now for 16, 17 years, and I've been doing it at a scale that is bigger than most. And, you know, it's as crazy as it sounds. I was the first online business coach. And yeah, there's literally, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of them today. But there was a time when there was just one, and it was this guy. And so I've been doing it a long time. And so this, like, tapping into that energy, it's, you know, it's here's a tangent. Here's an ADD moment, but totally related in my weird head, right? So I'm talking to Kevin Hogan, the persuasion expert. And this is years ago. And he's incredibly prolific. He's written a lot of books. And I said, what's the secret, Kevin, to being prolific? And you know what he told me? He said, write angry. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Write angry. And he's like, have you ever been like on a plane and you got really horrible service at the gate and you were so mad that you were going to you wrote a letter like to customer service or to complain? And I'm like, yeah, actually I have done that. And he's like, did you write furiously? Like, and were you surprised at how much you wrote and how fast? And I'm like, in fact, I did. And he's like, that's what I'm talking about. Get angry and write. You'll see that you'll put out a lot more in a very short period of time. Now, I'm not suggesting that's good advice or bad advice. It's really kind of irrelevant, right? But there is a power and a force to tapping into that anger that does not exist when sitting passively, right? And so just like that is with writing angry, there is something that you were deprived of for most of us as when we were younger, that if we can tap into that, we can tap into an energy reserve that does not end, right? That never ends. It's one of the reasons that like I was able to pull all-nighters and do crazy things and why I can still do 24-hour live streams really easily or longer, because like I'm tapping into an energy source that we all have, but few tap into, because I see what my business purpose, my life purpose, and what I was deprived of as a child, and all of those things combined into what it is I do on a daily basis. And because of that, right, it's not only about leveraging my strengths, it's not only about building a business around my weaknesses, it's also about tapping into the core of who I am as a person and allowing that force, that energy, that unique thing that is me, and allowing that to be a fuel for my entrepreneurial life. So don't know if that makes any sense to any of you, but let me take a minute break. And while I take a minute break, I'm actually going to do something different this time. I'm going to play the 2 videos from Wes and Alex. Each one is, I think, like 60 seconds. So let's go to Wes.
If you don't know Wes Watson, GP Penitentiary Life YouTube channel creator, did 10 years in the California prison system, came out, started offering fitness and training programs. I capped out at about $3,000 a month until my YouTube channel started to explode. And then I even capped out with millions of views on this channel that was exploding. First video, 600,000 views. Second, 2.5 million. So when they say that you cannot blow up in your first video, I did, but my business didn't. My business didn't because it capped out at $15,000 a month, even with all this organic views. So what happened was I got in touch with Rich Schefrin, and he showed me the systems that brought me from $15K a month to $300K a month today, and we're still growing. The Steal Our Winners program for $1, you gotta sign up. I'm actually interviewed in the program, and what we're doing here is we're taking.
What's up, Alex Jeffries here. So we're with Wes Watson right now. Wes was just doing a video for Rich Schefrin talking about how he was making $3,000 a month with organic, got to $15,000 a month. And with the millions of views this guy gets with his YouTube channel, he couldn't break $15,000 a month. When he got introduced to Rich and the business systems, you're at what now?
300K a month and climbing.
100 G's a month. So if you want to learn about how to go from this amount to this amount, like I did, when I met Rich, I was making 20K a month. We do 6 figures a month. Steal Our Winners. Come and see what me and him and every other influencer guru who's worth their salt is talking about in Steal Our Winners.
So there you go. Hopefully you can hear me, right? Yeah, can you? You should. Cool. All right, so let's see what you guys have to say. Hi, Rich. I have a particular. Okay, yep. Got that one. Got that. Cool. Makes perfect sense. We all have needs and constant desires that once we understand, we can use discrimination and fulfilling them in a constructive way. It's all a matter of using the desires in a way that promotes the end goal. Yes, said very well, Priya. That goes well with your idea to daily definition of the business, and if combined, be very useful to many. Cool. Brain butter. Is that a good thing, Robert? I don't know what brain butter is. Love the idea of using urges to move towards my goals, but need some help with the pivot necessary. I totally get that too. Have, do, be. How about have a vision, do the work, be who you want to be? Yeah, but you might as well be who you want to be first, then have the vision, then do the work, in my opinion. It may sound strange, but is there something like fear of having success? You know, I've heard that. I've heard people tell me that they have a fear of being successful. I just don't think that at the end of the day that there's not a fear of success. There might be a fear of, like, you know, imposter syndrome, that you don't deserve the success, but deserve according to whom, right? You know, we all, most of us, look for others to kind of, what would be the word? Certify, appoint, anoint, you know, and that just doesn't happen in life. Like, if you want to be something, you have to go out and go after it. And you have to be that for yourself. And I can appreciate and understand fear of failure. Fear of success to me seems, and maybe it's just me, maybe like I just have like a blind spot for it, but if you're defining success in the way that you want, I don't know why you would be fearful of it. Because you can define success in any which way that you want, and you should define success in the way that you want. In fact, if you do not have a definition, your own personal definition of what is success, I strongly suggest that you do that, right? That you define what success is for you, because it's different for each and every one of us. And if you don't do the time of ever figuring out how you define success, then odds are is that you're playing by somebody else's standards, which is not a way to lead to fulfillment. I think nobody can give what one doesn't have. I want to build an online business, but I need to have the knowledge that would allow me to do so, to become an entrepreneur or business owner. Yeah, well, Alonzo, that is no one. So how are you going to go out and get that knowledge? That's really the question, Alonzo. And so you have to go out into the world, and like anything else, as you make progress, you will learn, right? That you cannot learn to speed read unless you practice speed reading. There's just no way. It's a skill. You cannot like read or study and someone reveals something magical to you that all of a sudden, right, your eyes can move faster. It is a skill. It takes time and practice, and you work your way up. Same with business. Like, nobody can give you something that you have to take and learn. And you can learn from others. There's no question about that. I mean, I've taught a lot of things to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, it's you taking responsibility and making one, an intention, then two, backing that intention up by action of making forward progress and putting one step or one foot in front of the other foot, and ultimately learning by your own mistakes, learning by your own successes. But your experience is always going to be your best teacher. Dr. Vogelman. Yep, it's all in the joy of the journey. Once we reach the goal, we often ask, is that all there is, or what's next? Totally, right? And I think either one of those questions is really a bad question, right? Like, is that all there is means like where I was, right? Where you get to the end and you're like, oh, geez, this doesn't feel anything like I thought it was going to. Or what's next just perpetuates, right? So, you know, there is a what's next. Like, if you don't think that that thing is going to provide it, then you're cool, right? Hi, Rich, just to let you know that I have completed your SP answer questionnaire. Thank you, man. Truly appreciate it, Rajesh. And it's really just to give me greater clarity onto where and what people are struggling with. Rich, could you please expand on you could have been doing bigger things than you are doing, but choose not to? Oh, just in the sense of that, like, I've had offers to do other things that could have been much more substantial, like financially, but I don't have the desire to go down those directions. That's what I mean. In addition to that, like, well, I'll tell you something that I shared just the other day. When I first sat down with Mark Ford and Michael Masterson, I think like the second or third time, he said to me, you know, you're really smart. And, or I think you're really smart, something like that. And he said, I believe that, you know, that you're really smart. And I think because of that, you obviously could make a lot more money in the 3 Ps. And it was like prostate, potency, and maybe profits, but like, you know, stocks. You know, I've never been in this game to maximize the income. And certainly I know people in potency, in prostate, and profits that do a lot more business. That the largest business that's ever been in the business of helping entrepreneurs, not big corporations, but real entrepreneurs, has never gotten even to a fraction of the size of like an Agora. So if I was doing it for the money or the size of the business, I wouldn't be in this field. Thanks so much for sharing. I can relate. You are the only guru who can talk about this, who makes me feel normal. It is a gift for us. I call it purpose. Well, cool. Thank you for saying that. Many actors, comedians, and successful people transcend their past and deliver what they need to others. And that's what I'm talking about. And yet, for some reason, this is not something that, at least I haven't. Like, I don't see people talking about this as it relates to entrepreneurship. I've certainly seen people talk about having, like, they're going to show others wrong. And that certainly is a powerful motivation. And I don't discount that. But this is different than that. This is, I think, much more powerful if it can be tapped into. Hi, Alonzo. I have personally learned from valuable lessons from starting my own online business. It failed miserably, and I didn't sell a single product, and I lost a lot of money, time, and energy wasted as I knew and had experience of the market. However, I went into a very saturated market. So my personal advice to you is find a hungry audience and then tailor your product or service to that hungry audience. I do hope this helps. Also learn from Rich Sheffrin. Okay. Hi, Rich. Are you saying that if I'm personally angry that I will become a more productive sales? No, I'm not saying that. I was saying that just the example that Kevin Hogan told me, right, angry, and that I've had the experience when being angry of being extremely prolific. So my point is that it's just that you can tap into different internal states. But the one that I find most powerful as it relates to business is to provide the world what you've been deprived of. Man, that was, whoa, cool. Well, I hope that's a good whoa. I think the angry source can also be found in its opposite, love, and that it takes it back to using the energy in a constructive versus deconstructive manner. I think whether it's constructive or deconstructive is based on the expression, right? But that, you know, because love expressed in a destructive way can be destructive, right? Like, we've seen that. And hate expressed in different ways can actually be beneficial. So, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, whatever. So yeah, I think it's in the expression. You're taking marketing again to the next level. Well, thank you, A. Robert Bridge in UK. How did Wes find Rich? By me reaching out. I send emails to, whenever I see someone doing something that I enjoy, I send an email. So Wes is not the first person that I've sent an email to early on. Like whenever I come across someone, like I'm a big fan these days of Derek from More Plates, More Dates. He talks about steroids. He talks about workouts. And I found him because he was talking about Wes Watson and whether Wes is natural or not. And so as soon as I saw Derek, I sent an email just saying, hey, man, I love what it is you're doing. I'm a fan. If you know who I am and you'd ever want some free advice, reach out. If not, just know that I'm a fan and love what you do. And I'd say, you know, about half the time when I send an email like that, I get a response, and the other half of the time I don't. And that's cool because I wasn't sending it for any other reason than just to let that person know I'm a fan. Great conversation about how connecting our deepest purpose to give us an inexhaustible energy and motivation. And that's what we're talking about. Wow, Wes Watson, 300,000. I would be happy with 30,000 a month. Yeah, well, most of us do not have the force of personality that Wes has. Real talk. Be who you want to be first. Yeah, totally agree. Michael Jordan used to do this to spur him during his basketball playing days. He'd create an enemy, a feud, basically, to drive him to stronger effort. So there you go. And, you know, like I said, it doesn't have to be the anger and competition side, although if that's what drives you, then it should. But it could be, you know, some of these other things we've been talking about as well. How do you get over fear of failure? Well, the first thing you do, Hitesh, is recognize that, well, I guess the first thing is like, what is that fear really about? Like, and what I mean by that, is it a fear of embarrassment? Is it a fear of living on the street? Is it a fear, like what happens if you fail? Like, then what? And to me, well, you know, not only to me, I remember reading the, is it Susan Jeffers? I think it is. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I think that's the name of the book or something. And she said, really, like, if you think about it, if you know that you can handle whatever comes up, then there's really nothing to be afraid of. So what is the worst thing that could happen? And can you handle that? And, you know, I was talking to Julian Reyes because we're talking about kids. And I was saying the one thing that having kids did to me, I would say, is that I used to operate with absolutely no fear. Because as a young single guy, if I lost everything, what's the worst that can happen? I would sleep on a friend's couch and I would rebuild. That changes when you have kids, right? I don't want my kids sleeping on some stranger's couch or a friend's couch. Like, that's a different game. So, but like, what is it, Hitesh, that at the end of the day, you know, you think is going to happen if you fail? And at least, I guess, to me, like, I look at life is precious. And I know people say that, but like, what I mean by that is that you're really only here for a limited amount of time. We each are, right? And our own death is something that, you know, for most of us, we mentally avoid, but we're all going to die. And generally, like, we're never going to have more youth, more energy than we do right now. It's not getting better as we race towards the future. And so at the end of your life, it's not going to be about what you've amassed, because you can't take it with you, right? You can't take anything with you. But to me, and the way I look at my life, and I suggest you try it on, is that really it's how many things in life you got to experience and what was the ride. And what I've learned, or what I've been told, and what seems to kind of correspond with reality to me, is that the higher the highs, the lower the lows. If you want the biggest highs, you got to be willing to accept the real lows, right? If you want to kind of live a flatlined life, you can, by avoiding risk and avoiding downside and not going after things. But to me, what was the purpose of that? You're here for a limited period of time, make the most of it. And if that means that you step up to bat and swing and fail, then you'll get another chance. And it's not about how you end up, it's how you live your life. And my experience, and what I tell entrepreneurs all the time, whether they're going through a great time or they're going through a horrible time, is that nothing good or bad ever lasts. Nothing lasts. Everything at some point ends, right? Failure ends, success ends. And so knowing that should allow you to kind of like recognize the game of life, and that it really is about experiencing as much as you can before our time runs out. At least that's the way I look at it. Hi, Rich. I was told by one of my previous coaches and mentors that I had a fear of success. I did not personally agree with him, and I got defensive. Well, if that's the case, then I would be happy to be in my comfort zone and not decided to start my own business and create my own career and become an entrepreneur. Yeah, I think it's too quickly thrown around. I learned to speed listen because of your speed reading lesson. It's so valuable. Thank you for that. My pleasure, my man. Hi, Hitesh. If you want to start your own business and become an entrepreneur, failure comes with the territory. However, you can learn painful yet valuable lessons. Failure is feedback, and it's never permanent. Yeah, there is not an entrepreneur I know who's never failed. Like, I just don't know any. None at all. Samuel with the cool shades. Hey, Milos. That's why it's good to have more than one big goal to prevent the end of game phenomena. Yep. Or to have one that can never be fully fulfilled, right? Like, if my goal is to make entrepreneurship as easy as starting a career, that is not going to happen anytime soon, but I can work towards it. And I can make it so that more entrepreneurs succeed, that I make the path easier to succeed, and that I act as someone who does make it easier for entrepreneurs to succeed, and also provide the light that maybe other people are kind of being led astray, without saying any more. Rich, if you had a mentee and made him learn copywriting and marketing, what would you make him study to? Well, it would depend what that copywriting was for, but I would say that I would probably start that person off reading Evaldo Albuquerque's book, right? The 16-word sales letter. Then from there, I'd probably have them go through the original John Carlton course, Marketing Secrets, or Kick-Ass Marketing Secrets, or Kick-Ass Secrets of a Marketing Rebel, Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets of a Marketing Rebel, or something like that. Then from there, I'd have them actually start writing stuff, and actually start by doing what I said on a different live stream at a different time about taking sales letters that were for totally different topics and then rewriting them as entrepreneurial and then giving critiques. And that's how I would do it. Now, that's not how Strategic Profits does it, because Matt is a copywriter, and so he's kind of doing that, but that's how I would do it. Sent in the questionnaire, but used a name only because I wasn't sure if it was yours or I was signing up for something I wouldn't want. Haha. Okay, well, cool. I appreciate you filling it out, but you're not signing up for anything. We're not sending any emails off of that. It's really just an information thing for me. And Ava, I just got another text about Capital One. Good day. I think that's the law of resonance. The universe doesn't give what you want. The universe reflects who you are like a giant mirror. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just a thought. Source, Michael Beckwith. That's cool. Ariel. Kyle. How did you discover this, Rich? What's the story that comes to mind for you? Secondly, I have never heard anyone talk about business like this. I've been a client for 10 years plus, and I think that's one of your greatest distinctions in how you break it down in BGS. It's a beautiful business secret. I don't think you've ever given this a name like core concept, founding story, etc. You own it. Trademark it. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I don't really hear people talk about this. I don't know why. People have taken pretty much everything else. Steal our winners. Yo. Rich, you are missing the fact that people have blind spots and do not logically understand why they are blocked or cannot move their life forward. Often it is emotional, subconscious, and requires inner child work to discern and transform into who they want to and can be. It's both science and art. Heather, you are missing the fact that I built and grew the largest hypnosis company that ever existed, that I studied the mind, that I studied NLP with Bandler, that I've studied hypnosis with some of the best hypnotists in the world, that I've done therapy. I was a hypnotherapist, that we worked with literally tens of thousands of clients, so that I'm very much aware of what the subconscious is. And there are processes that people can do that will reveal those things. I know it because I've done it myself. I've worked with others, and yeah. But I appreciate the comment, Heather. Just disagree. I believe that we are all in the feel-good business. All of us, to some degree, deliver happiness to patients, clients, or customers. We alleviate pain and open up the opportunity for greater joy and abundance. I agree with that, Dr. Vogelman. Dan Kennedy says to have a common enemy with your herd. Well, having a common enemy with your herd certainly does rally people, right? And that's because anger is a very powerful bonding emotion, believe it or not, when it's projected outward. False evidence appearing real. Yes. Experience matters most. Life is really shorter than most people believe. My father died recently of COVID. Sorry to hear that. And yes, it really is. Look, you know, we're all here for a limited time. Hi, Rich. To me, I have both personally and professionally failed many times. So have I. I've learned very painful yet valuable lessons from failure. Failure is feedback. Failure is the opposite side of success. No risk, no reward. Well, failure is not the opposite, right? It's win or learn at the end of the day. And look, any entrepreneur that says they've never failed is probably not an entrepreneur at the end of the day. Thanks, Rich. Great advice. My batting average is about, I think your batting average is a little bit better than that, Dr. Vogelman. That's what I currently going through that's why I'm currently going through many challenges. Got it. As an 80, well, geez, James, you look great for 87. As an 87-year-old, 18, unless that's an old photo, 18 holes of golf with my son and granddaughter yesterday tested my lazy lifestyle of sitting in front of my computer. Yeah, I bet that was tough if you've been doing that for a while. A very insightful session today. Thank you, Priya. Desire propels us forward. Certainly can. Read anything by Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy, or Scott Haynes. I agree with that. Just completed the questionnaire as well. Not sure that I agree about life not getting better as we race towards the finishing line. I didn't say that it's not getting better. All good things come to an end, but that doesn't mean life can't get better until it does end. I believe that too. I didn't say it doesn't. What I'm saying is that you're never going to have more like that. Let's put it this way. Your potential never grows from here and only decreases. What is possible going forward can grow based on how you live today. But overall, right, we are here for a limited, finite period of time. And because of that, we are getting closer to that end point. Celeste, is it the rite of passage to lose $1 million first before becoming successful? Is there an average? How many big losses before getting to success? I'll tell you what is. The people that fail and then jump to a totally different thing and then fail and then jump to a totally different thing generally do not succeed. People who fail but take the learnings from that failure and don't do a totally different thing, but do something slightly different or different enough, but still be able to leverage the learning from the failure are the ones that succeed. So entrepreneurs who failed a few times, but each time actually altered their approach, not by doing something totally different, doing something slightly different, slightly, one step removed, are the entrepreneurs that succeed. The ones that don't take any of the learning from any failure to the next are the ones that consistently fail because they're not getting better. Hopefully that helps. Where did I end up here? Okay, hold on. All right. Maybe you could do a hypnosis session here. That would be interesting. That would. Maybe someday. I have probably tried 20 times. I always pivot when it gets hard, learning to persevere now. Yeah, if you pivot too early, that could be a problem here. I was just reading that today by Sri Bhagavan Sri Rama Maharaji. Your idea of willpower is success ensured. Willpower should be understood to be the strength of mind which makes it capable for meeting success or failure with equanimity. It is not synonymous with certain success. Why should one's attempts be always attended with success? I agree. Success develops arrogance, and the man's spiritual progress is thus arrested. Failure, on the other hand, is beneficial in as much as it opens the something, right? And I would agree with that. I can't disagree with that for sure. Can I ask another question? Do you believe as an entrepreneur that you need to polarize your audience rather than selling and promoting your particular product or service to everyone and everybody? Well, look, Rajesh, not everyone and everybody is going to buy your product. And in general, if you are really trying to go after one group, you will generally tend to not be of interest to other groups. Now, polarizing can be beneficial, right? Because if you're going to stroke some kind of positive emotion in some, odds are you will stoke a negative emotion in others, and certainly it will ratchet it up. So I don't know that I would say that that you need to polarize, but it can be beneficial. And trying to be everything to everybody is a way of just kind of blending in with the crowd. So I wouldn't advise on that. A bit off the subject, but given your NLP, hypnosis, and therapy experience and your prolific learning, any suggestions about best practices for building new habits and extinguishing bad ones, resources, experts to follow? Well, what I would say, let's go back to that for a second. Well, on the hypnosis front, I really like Paul McKenna's self-hypnosis stuff, but that's because I'm a fan of Paul. So I don't know if that's but effective for me, right? So that's one. I'd also, though, Mike, refer back to what I was talking about earlier about really kind of separating the urge from the behavior. And if you can figure out more beneficial behaviors that will satisfy that urge, then you're leveraging really who you are. So there's that. I'd also say that, and this might be kind of above and beyond what you're asking, but I'm a much bigger fan of Adler's psychology than Freud's. And so probably the best book that would give you an introduction to Adler, who was a contemporary of Freud's, just had a very, Freud felt like your past defined your present, right? How your parents treated you, this, that, and the other. There's certainly an element of truth to that. But Adler believed that your perceived future determines your present. So, it's the reason why one day you can love someone and then you can fall out of love with them, and then all of a sudden their habits bother you, right? It's because you don't perceive them being in your future. So all of a sudden how you feel about them in your present changes, right? So I'm a fan of Adler's because I believe there's a lot of truth in that. And the one of the best books on Adler, believe it or not, is a book that has nothing to do with Adler, but brings in a lot of Adler's psychology, and that is The Courage to be Disliked. And that was like a huge bestseller in Japan. And The Courage to be Disliked is, I would recommend that to anyone and everyone. I enjoyed it immensely. And I believe in a lot of the things that they share in that book. And I wonder how many of you would agree with everything that's in that book. But The Courage to be Disliked is that book. All right, where am I? All right. Let's see here, guys. Thank you. Emmy, being is all what it is life is about, not only for business. We are human beings, LOL. We have to surrender, let go, and swim with the flow and trust. No way around it to grow and expand. Spent too many years being Lone Ranger. Now, no, I need to find missionaries and have them battle with me. Inspiration versus perspiration. You can think bigger with a team. Alone, you think small. Yep. And life is really defined in relationship to other people. All trauma is caused in relationship. All trauma is healed in relationship. All addiction generally is isolating. One of the things that all 12-step programs do is pull you out of isolation and have you bond with others. So there's a lot of truth to what you're saying in more than just business. Hi, Rich. Entrepreneurs who failed and learn from failure, then adapts and twists to their next startup business venture. Got it. Thank you for answering all my questions today. My pleasure, Rajesh. My older brother's funeral was today. Sorry to hear that, Mayor. He was Mr. Positive and pulled off some amazing feats in business. Largest dental clinic in Vancouver. He always thought big and was hungry for success. And if he lived a good life, then I think that's all you can hope for him, Mayor. Lorna. I've had various trainings in mindset area and have fallen away from implementing what I know and teach. Any tips on getting back on the horse? For me, it's as easy as just reviewing those things that really got me on the right track in the first place. And then just kind of like reviewing how I was at specific times. That's one of the benefits of keeping a journal, and just determining to start again, start anew the next day. You don't delete habits, you replace them. I agree. I love Ramana Maharaji, an amazing Advaita master, as Rich is an amazing business master. Rich, can you create a subreddit where fans can discuss, ask? I'm willing to admin. I want to be around others like me, grow biz. Yeah, I'd be down with a subreddit where fans can discuss and ask. But you could also do that. Is there any reason, Mayor, you wouldn't want to do that in our Facebook group? I'd love it if it was at our Facebook group, just because it would be more activity. And you're free to join our Facebook group if there's a reason why we shouldn't do it on Facebook and we should do it on Reddit. I don't see why not. Adler believed that the conscious and unconscious work together in harmony, as I do. Oh, my goodness. That info on Adler explains a lot for a couple of situations I've been in recently. Interesting, Lorna. Hi, Rich. Did you say that all trauma is... I said all trauma is born in relationship, all right? And all trauma is healed in relationship. You don't... Our tendency for a lot of people, myself included, is when we're hurt, when we feel less than, so I'll do it for me, I tend to isolate myself. And isolation is the worst thing that one can do for oneself, no matter what the issue is. Because at the end of the day, like, by yourself, you can't get a great perspective on things. Like, life is meant to be lived with others. We're social we're social animals at the end of the day. Why not on Discord? Well, I mean, for me, the reason to do it in the Facebook group is just that we're already there. We're already doing stuff. It's easier than me having 50 places I have to hit, right? That's why it would be good to do it in the Facebook group. And that's also where I give away like some of my stuff. So it makes it easier. I'd be fine with that. Just using a Reddit a lot lately. Lots of crypto. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So Mayor, join our Facebook group. And I would certainly love like threads about what I should talk about on these live streams instead of me having to come up with this twice a week. How many Facebook groups do you have? I have one primary, and that's Strategic Profits. Rich, from your experience, who is a good NLP teacher? Doug O'Brien is a good NLP teacher. Doug O'Brien, John Laval, Joseph Riggio doesn't teach NLP anymore, but when he did, he was really good. I'm probably offending some people that I know right now. George BN, I don't know if I said that. I'd say that's good enough. Oh, had classes with Carl Rogers, Rollo May, and Viktor Frankl. Oh, wow. That is way cool. I've not read a lot of Carl Rogers, so I have to be honest there, but I've read a lot of Rollo May, and I've read a lot of Viktor Frankl. Link, please. The name of the group is Strategic Profits. So if you go into Facebook and do a search, or maybe someone else can provide you with the link. The courage to be disliked builds identity, confidence, and your individual purpose, but people still need to influence and leverage others to succeed. I think integrating Adler and Freud brings resolution. Understand your past while knowing you can recreate your future. But there's also elements to Adler about being on one's life path and not interfering with other people's life paths and not taking responsibility for other people's actions. And for me, like, it resonates very much with how I live my life, how I treat others, everything else. Wouldn't Reddit give you more exposure? I don't know. And I'd like to keep it contained at this point. Well, Lorna, then join our Facebook group. It's Strategic Profits. That's the name of it. And some of my best paid reports are in there for free. And a lot of like-minded entrepreneurs. Life is meant to be lived with others, and no man or woman is an island. Also, the late, great Jim Rohn used to quote saying, you will not meet many successful and entrepreneurs living as a hermit. No, you won't. Can you bring a fan or student on each show and let them discuss their challenges and you diagnose live? Stories are easier to relate to. That would be cool. I'd be certainly down for that. What about Kenrick Cleveland for NLP? Is Kenrick teaching NLP? I mean, I think Kenrick more is focused on persuasion, but certainly I am a huge fan of Kenrick's. I'm a friend of Kendrick's, and Max Persuasion is what Kenrick is all about, and I am certainly a fan of his. And if you've ever come across the chain of beliefs, which is something I created with Kenrick as I was developing automated webinars, then you have studied some of Kenrick without knowing it. Join your group. Thank you. My pleasure, my man. Love Jim Rohn. Shed a few tears when he passed. He was good. What about the writings of Ayn Rand? I like Ayn Rand. Certainly have read. In fact, little known trivia, Rajesh, the reason I called the Internet Business Manifesto a manifesto is because in Ayn Rand's book, The Art of Nonfiction, she talks about the difference between an essay and a manifesto. And I think if I remember correctly, and this was a long time ago, an essay is to change opinion. A manifesto is to inspire action. And when I read that, I was like, I want to write a manifesto. So I called it a manifesto because of Ayn Rand, if you want to. I think that's the right way to pronounce it. Was fortunate to do a 20-day NLP training with John Grinder and his now ex-wife. Excellent. Don't know if he's still around. Yeah, well, he's one of the founders and creators. I'm sure he was phenomenal. Oh, and I'm in your group. It's the bringing together like-minded people offer that you asked to bring into your group that I'd like to see in your group. Oh, okay. Well, then let's do that. Idea 2, let the community vote on the idea or topics to improve your show. Idea 3, fan subgroups, for example, our own fans gathering together. Well, let's do number 2 first. Then we can see about number 3. Andy, Rich, if you add a section to the Facebook group similar to the guide section of the Funalytics group, I think you are a member there, then it would be easier for people to find previous content. Andy, you'll have to, I'm going to take a picture of this, but can you send me a message and explain in greater detail so I can understand? How about John Asseroff? For teaching NLP? I don't know. Not really studied anything of John's. So don't have anything bad to say about him. Also don't have anything great to say about him. Just don't know him. Anyway, I think we'll end this a little bit early today, just 6 minutes, because I actually have to do a Steal Our Winners. Because I'm behind, I have to do one more tonight and then a few tomorrow, and then I'm finally back up to date. But if you haven't yet, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, share. If you're watching on Facebook, thumbs up, emote, comment, share. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, do whatever you can do. And if you haven't already, you can please fill out that survey. If you want to make up a fake name and a fake email address, I don't care. What I really care about are your answers and what you believe you're struggling with and what you feel would happen if you could shed that, if you could get rid of that. That's what I'm most interested in as I plan out how I'm going to take this next group of entrepreneurs that I'm going to coach live and create the next program from, which I've only done a few times. And every time I've done it, the amount of success stories I've created have been pretty tremendous. And that's because I put my whole life on hold and I am relentless and totally focused on achieving success for those people, because that's what will create the next program. So anyway, I can't do that until I know what are those core problems. And so thank you, Dr. Vogelman, for filling it out. Thank you for each and every one of you who filled it out. Thank you for being here. I know you always have lots of options, and there certainly are more entertaining things that you could be doing. Hopefully this was entertaining enough and educational enough and makes a difference in your entrepreneurial life. And if it does, then I am truly happy to share whatever I know with each and every one of you to make a difference. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for at least entertaining the ideas that I shared. And I will see everyone on Tuesday to higher profits and beyond. Sheffrin out.